Anna, welcome to the program.
Very happy to be back, Charlie.
Respond to the Washington Post story.
Well, first and foremost, I knew immediately that I had to go and kill shot with receipts. And so the first big allegation and flaw that they made is that they claimed that I was a registered Democrat in the state of Washington, of which I pointed out that Washington hasn't declared parties for registration since 2004. So that was their first retraction. And then the second retraction was they actually completely ignored the fact that during a break-in that I was at in Missouri State back in I think it was 2007, 2000-ish timeframe. They left me out of it altogether. They said that I wasn't annotated on the police report. There was multiple different incidences. It was on 7/6/2010. And ultimately, as a result of that, multiple of my coworkers ended up coming forward and going on record to various outlets like Time Magazine, People Magazine, and also to Fox News to say, Anna didn't make up this story. This Brittany Brooks person has made allegations that she owns a ghost gun. I mean, it was so absurd. But, you know, in understanding what I'm doing with the media and understanding that you have to be aggressive, you have to confront with the facts. One of the most horrifying things is that they claimed that I made up the fact that my dad was incarcerated. And I paid $1.50. I went online and I did a public record search and I found all of my dad's charges, misdemeanors, felonies. And to say that I would make something like that up, why would they say that? It's because they don't want young Hispanics to be reputable. And if you look at the slant of the entire article, they say that I'm not Hispanic enough, even though they cite where my grandparents immigrated from. But, you know, a lot of what they do, it's character assassination. And if you don't have the spine for it, you can fold. But I think that we launched a full frontal assault and we'll look forward to more retractions soon.
Yeah. And so can you just talk a little bit about why they are doing this? Go ahead.
Yeah, Charlie, I am actually one of, and it's really started with Turning Point. I became one of the biggest conservative activists for Hispanic Americans in the country. And I am now one of the first Mexican-American women elected to Congress from the state of Florida. I'm the first minority woman elected to flip my seat from blue to red. And it's because of the fact that I'm not engaging in their groupthink. You see, it would be a lot easier for me, according to these people, to claim that I am a man or to claim that I'm cisgender.
Yeah, that is exactly right. Yes.
Exactly. Because of the fact that I'm owning my Hispanic heritage, because I'm saying that I'm conservative, I'm all of a sudden the boogeyman. And the sexist attacks that were launched by liberal men over this, it's absurd. But I'm really glad that they did it the way that they did, because honestly, there's a silver lining in the cloud. And had they not done that, People Magazine wouldn't have reached out to do a profile piece and talk to my mom and understand our story. Time Magazine wouldn't have bothered to do that. And so I think that this is just going to show that you can try to attack people, but the facts will always speak for themselves. And I'm an Air Force veteran. I'm going to continue fighting for this country, and I'm going to take on the Washington Post.
And you should. And it was, I mean, what they do is a drive-by shooting of the truth, as I said before, as the great Rush Limbaugh would call them, the drive-bys for a reason. You know, but Anna, I want to, build this out because, you're a young, articulate voice, and the media goes after the young leaders in the conservative movement harsher than anybody else. Look, they went after George Santos. That guy he's got his own about a problem, let's just say garden variety of problems. They tried to use that playbook against you, but the issue is you're an honest person, and they tried to imply that you're not a conservative. Well, honestly, I can help with that. You are a conservative. In fact, Ryan on our team, who's been doing a great job running our YouTube, if you go to our YouTube channel, Anna, you'll remember this. Some of the most viral videos we've been reposting is Anna Paulina next to me at Portland State University. That's right. You're trying to tell me that Anna Paulina is not a true conservative? We went with a coffee table outdoors in downtown Portland and talked to commies all day long. Anna, you're a conservative. The Washington Post is trying to make it seem that you're not.
I mean, it's kind of interesting because even, let's just say, play devil's advocate, if you even listen to their narrative would be that I was a liberal who's turned conservative, and then they're hitting me for being a liberal, which makes no sense. So it's like they hate themselves and they just don't know where they're at. They're having an identity crisis right now because we're winning when it comes to ideas. But, everything that I did with House oversight with some of these investigations,
yes.
Charlie, part of that training was from when I was going on all those campus tours and debating and arguing with college kids on ideas and being able to confront that and get to the truth. And so you'll see more of that. The difference between me and most members of Congress, and the reason I think that I'm just so matter of fact about it and willing to fight, is because I don't look at this like a career job. I don't want it to be a career job. So I'm willing to make the necessary changes because I frankly don't care. If they want to come for me, I've gone through multiple elections where they ran smear campaigns
Yes.
similar to Madison Cawthorn. In fact, the same Democrat super PAC that went against Madison and Lauren Boebert came after me. They actually said that I was not a veteran and I had to drop my DD 214. So I think the angle was they didn't think I would have the receipts because, as stated by an editor at the Washington Post, Ana Luna has a story that mirrors basically Oliver Twist. And the fact that they would talk about that and discredit my life. I grew up within the welfare system. I went to 6 high schools. I saw gang shooting. I was jumped. I was a victim of a home invasion, and I'm for the Second Amendment. I had a father that was on drugs, and I can talk to all these things. Should try to minimalize that. Think about that. I'm going to kick their butts.
I love that. And you're such a threat that they need to try to take you out. You don't claim victimhood. And to add an element to what you just mentioned, in the 2022 midterms, there were a lot of expensive races. But did you know that Anna Paulina, out of 435, is it 435 or 535? I get my, yeah, it's 435. Yeah, it's 535 if you count the Senate. 435 House races. Anna Paulina, number one, had the most outside money spent against her of every single race. An out-of-state billionaire from Illinois came and spent, what was it, $17 to $22 million against you, Anna?
Yeah, it was 12 million in total from the super PAC.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was insane.
And that's one House race in a portion of Tampa, Florida, in Pinellas and Hillsborough County, right there. And they needed to come in with $12 million, and she still won because they know the threat that she represents. And Anna, we got to get to a break, but really quick, 20 seconds.
Okay. I was just going to say it's about power and control, and they're threatened because of the fact that I'm Hispanic, and we're not going to let them win on the identity politics. We're America first, and we're here to fight.
I love it. Anna Paulina is with us. Anna, why don't you tell us what happened at the Twitter hearing last week, which I think only encouraged the Washington Post to try to get that piece out even more.
Well, the Washington Post, right after that hearing, and I'll get into the specifics of that in a second, but right after they said that I was pushing some conspiracy theory, even though we had documentation, and I'm literally launching this investigation with House oversight. So what we found is that Twitter Corporation, along with other social media entities, so like Facebook, Instagram, and I believe that also Google's potentially in there, and YouTube, but they were working with a division of DHS called CISA, CISA. And ultimately, that entity was set up to monitor foreign interference and then also misinformation and disinformation boards. So I want to remind people this was set up to work against foreign entities interfering in elections, not American people, right, in their First Amendment. So we found in a screenshot that was actually posted to a Stanford YouTube video that Alex Stamos, who was working on this program, was actually bragging that they had made such breakthroughs. And it was Yoel Roth in a conversation with CISA, Twitter executives, and other entities, as well as state entities, to remove certain postings. And I want to flag why that's important, because that's known as a joint state actor relationship, and it's highly illegal. And mind you, our tax dollars are going to these organizations that are then in turn suppressing your free speech. And so that was what I uncovered. It went viral. They lied to my face, which I am going to follow up with Chairman Comer to see if we can bring charges for perjury, because he lied. He knew that this entity exists. It was a commonly known chat board. It was a private cloud server. But also, too, they tried to make it something that it wasn't, saying that this was, normal. It's not normal to do that. And ultimately, we'll be following up on these investigations. As you see, we have Mayorkas coming in the next 2 weeks. And, they can talk all the smack they want, Charlie, but I really don't care. I'm going to do the job, and I'm going to do it right. And then, when all said and done with politics, I'm throwing my phone out the window and I'm retiring on a farm somewhere.
So what is the current then oversight strategy to hold Twitter and these tech companies accountable moving forward?
Well, I think right now we're in the exploratory phase, right? We have to get all the facts together before we can start writing the legislation. But it is important because if Elon Musk did not purchase Twitter, we would have never known this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he removed the attorney-client privilege for some of these executives that were testifying. And he also has been fully cooperating with different members of Congress that are actually interested in pursuing why the federal government is suppressing our constitutional rights. Like, that is literally what we're trying to expose here. And so we're going to get those facts. And as we move forward, there's some great members, conservative members, as well as leadership that is going to be working on legislation. But we might not be able to propose that legislation until we have a president that will actually pass it. Because right now, as you know, Senate is Democrat controlled. And really anything that we pass that will go after tech or China, I have a good feeling that this administration will veto. And so we're going to get that together. But the American people need to know the facts. And I think that's the phase one process. And as we continue to move forward, that, you know, sometimes is the best disinfectant is sunlight.
Talk just for briefly about the debt ceiling fight and how critical that is to try to get some meaningful reform.
Well, Charlie, I've been a huge advocate. I still really do not want to raise the debt ceiling. Right now, what we're actually hearing, and again, these negotiations have been going on since really the speaker fight. As you heard, we had a promise from now Speaker McCarthy to not raise the debt ceiling over X amount, and that it would actually go back to some cuts actually dating back to previous years. And so that's what we're looking at. We're also looking at something called rescissions, which means that money that's already been spent, or at least that's supposed to be spent, that we can actually claw that money back. You know, what's the point of having a debt ceiling if we're going to continue to raise it? As you saw at the State of the Union, Biden was trying to say that Republicans were attacking, you know, Medicare and Social Security. That's not true. But, you know, some of these programs, largely of what was pushed through in the omnibus spending bill, extremely detrimental, extremely wrong. We shouldn't be spending that. So we are still in negotiations.
Anna Paulina, Luna, I want to just play one last little piece of tape here. Play cut 20 of you from the oversight hearing.
Mr. Roth, have you communicated with government officials ever on a platform called Jira? Yes or no? Real quick answer. We're on the clock.
Not
yes
to
or
the
no?
best of my recollection.
Not
no.
to your recollection? Great. If you did, in the event, communicate, who would have had access to this platform?
That's the nature of my confusion.
Okay.
Jira
Did you ever speak to government officials on Jira regarding taking down social media posts?
Again, not to the best of my recollection.
This guy's got serious memory problems. 15 seconds, Anna.
Yeah, he lied to my face.
Yes,
It's
he
not
did.
the first time they used a platform. I'm looking at others, and we're going to hold them accountable 100%.
Very good. We're behind you, Anna. Keep fighting. They hate you for all the right reasons. Thank you so much.
Thank you.